But to start everything off, we're just going in order here. I'm putting Bulbasaur at A easily. Easily. I think a lot of people slander the Gen 1 Pokemon, and I think that the other two would kind of deserve it, but Bulbasaur has done nothing wrong. And I'm not even a big fan of grass types. I would honestly say that they're probably my least favorite of the three, but I really like Bulbasaur's design. Again, I do think it's a little bit overused in terms of it's just been out forever, but that's just my personal opinion. Next, we have Charmander, and B is mid-tier. I think Charmander's design, I think he is one of those overdone Pokemon as well, especially with the card game, because I open a lot of Pokemon card packs. I think Charmander is probably one of the most mid-tier designed Pokemon in the entire game. I don't know. It could be much worse. It could be a C or D for me, but I really think that Charmander of all Pokemon deserves kind of B tier. That's just my opinion, but either way. I would put Squirtle one position before Charmander. I kind of like Squirtle's design, not enough to put him anywhere closer up here. Like, if you look at the way that the graph has to be with 6 and 3, you have 9 choices that are your favorite. And 3, that is very small pickings to try and make an entire like top favorite or your least favorite, or like, yeah, your least favorite. So I think Squirtle is just mid of the range too, but definitely better than Charmander. That's just my opinion personally, but either way. Next we got Chikorita, which personally to me, I'm not a big fan of Chikorita personally. I honestly would not mind putting Chikorita at D personally, but C to me is where I feel like it stands. I think that there are 3 worse designs than Chikorita. Let me know what you guys think about Chikorita, honestly. So Cyndaquil. This may also shock you guys. Cyndaquil S tier. I don't know what it is. I think this is one of the cutest, cool looking Pokemon there is. And it's very, very, very plain looking, but it's so sleek and simple though. All right, so next we got Totodile. I would put Totodile behind Bulbasaur, but still an A. I think that out of all of these designs, he's definitely, I would personally say, one of the more creative, possibly just the color scheme and everything and just the overall look of his face. But I would say I put him at A. Trico, I think this is where we catch a lot of hate. I think we catch a lot of hate for Trico. I'm putting him in C. I don't see him getting any higher than C for me personally. Like, I love his evolutionary line. Please don't get me wrong on that. I just think his design is terrible. His sprite from behind when you're battling with him looks tough, but I don't like Trico's design overall. And this is also probably where I'm going to catch a little bit more flack as well. I'm going to go ahead and put Torchic at B. He's a little plain too. He's literally just a chicken, but I love the way he looks personally. And again, design kind of goes in just into favoritism in terms of what you like and don't like in the looks of a Pokemon, but I would have to put Torchic at B. So next we have Mudkip. And I'm just going to say it right now, right? I'm not going to spoil where all of these fall on these lists in terms of line until right now. Mudkip is the top of the list. I don't care what anybody says. That's the one that if you disagree on, you have got to leave. I'm sorry. That's the only rule. You guys know that I love Mudkip in every list. Every single tier list I make, Mudkip's going first. I don't care. I could care less. That is the hill that I will die on that one. Easily better than Cyndaquil, but nothing touches Mudkip. If I had an own tier where this is the best one, double S tier, Mudkip would be the only one that makes it on there. Turtwig. Ironically, these two are actually put together because Turtwig is my only other third tier S tier Pokemon. But just look at him, bro. I just think he's so simplistic and clean. I love his design. Probably those are my 3 favorite Pokemon in terms of starters, and I don't know what it is. Just based off of design alone, I guess they're just my favorites. The biggest thing that I'll say I liked was that we had 1 fire, 1 water, and 1 grass type. So I didn't mean to do that on purpose, but those are easily probably my 3 personal favorite starters on design. So there's that. Chimchar, I'm going to be honest, I would say A tier because I think that for what the Pokemon is, like, Turtwig is a turtle, obviously. But I just don't know. He just looks a little too plain for my liking. He's definitely a goated Pokemon in all terms besides design, in my personal opinion. But A, I think, is even being a little bit generous. The absolute closest thing to S tier without being S tier is Piplup, in my opinion. I again, very simple Pokemon. It's literally just a penguin, and it doesn't look anything close to different than a penguin. but I still think that Piplup is the highest A tier, with almost being the lowest S tier Pokemon you can put on this list. I think the whole evolutionary line for Piplup is dope and so fire, ironically, because he's a water Pokemon. Now, I think we catch another large bit of shade here, but I would put Snivy at A as well. I would easily put Snivy at A, but he is the lowest that you guys will see out of this entire list, that he is the lowest A that there is possible. I think that they actually, like, if you look at all these Pokemon, maybe besides Froakie, I think they took the biggest chance with his design. Like, Squirtle is definitely a turtle. Charmander's probably like a gecko or like a lizard of some kind. Trico looks like a lizard. I guess they were a little bit bold with Chikorita. I don't know, but like Torchic is obviously a chicken. Penguin, I don't know what Bulbasaur would be actually as well. Maybe a turtle. Snivy, I think they took a big chance on, and I think it paid off personally. Tepig, I'm gonna be honest, the lowest in this entire tier list. You will see two more go into this list, and Tepig is in last place. This just seems like it has no effort put into it at all. And I also don't like the evolutionary line. That's not into consideration for this. It's just extra added commentary. Now, Oshawott. Oshawott is the highest B without being an A. I think Oshawott is another one of those where they took a decent amount of chance, even though he clearly looks like an otter, I guess is what he is. He clearly looks like the real animal, but I just think a lot of the elements to him just add a lot more to his personality, more than just the animal that he is. And I kind of like it, honestly. It was hard for me to decide between like Chimchar, Snivy, and Oshawott to be A. And Oshawott just got the boot a little bit farther down. But I think Oshawott's a really good Pokemon design. For the majority of it, we actually only have one more spot up here for 6. And the majority are either going to be mid or lower, which I didn't want to do toward the end. But I think when you're doing this almost in order and generation, you can't not put those Pokemon like as high as they are. Like, it's not even nostalgia. It's not the fact that I just like those games better. I think they are just legitimately better Pokemon. If it was based off nostalgia, I will say I would have put Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur way at the top, never to be talked about or seen again. But I just don't think that's the case. I'm actually blanking on his name now. Is it Chespin? I think that's his Chespin. I have him here between Trico and Chikorita at the moment. I don't know. He's another one of those Pokemon that looked a little weird to me. Very forgettable. I actually, again, almost forgot his name. So, and then I believe this is Delphox, and Delphox is in the mid-range as well. Not a bad Pokemon by any means in terms of design, just overly mid. Like, nothing special, nothing bad. Like Chikorita, I think it just looks so odd, out of place. That's why you get lower than mid. This fits. It's a good, decent design. It's just mid. It's just average. The last Pokemon to make it above mid in order is Froakie into A. Really cool design. Another one of those where it's like he's clearly the frog, but that design payout is so nice. Like his scarf right here. I don't know why the eyes kind of fit for me. Like it looks very odd, but when they make odd designs work, I just think it's really cool. These two, I couldn't decide between S and A, but at the same time that I had to pick between Piplup and Froakie being better or not, and I had a very hard time choosing. But A tier for Froakie, that is the last in this list that makes it above mid. But now we have Rowlet, and let me just say, another putrid Pokemon. I had a hard time deciding if he was the worst or not, but at the end of the day, he's still D tier. This line of Pokemon just does not matter, but Tepig definitely takes the L for the worst Pokemon on this entire list. Bro, I don't know what it is. He just looks like the derpiest thing I have ever seen in my life. And then actually right behind it, I believe this is Pokemon's name is Litten. I hate Litten, bro. I don't know what it is. I think I'm going to catch a lot of flack for putting Litten so low. I don't actually know about that. Next, we have Poplio, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Very, I would almost just say mid, but he's not. Just very generic Pokemon. Like, I don't like just saying like he's clearly this animal, so it's lame, because obviously, again, we've been over this a million times, but at the same time, he just doesn't seem like he has anything special about him. Totodile, bro, like he's still a crocodile-esque Pokemon or alligator, but he has so much personality with that. Poplio, I just don't think looks like they have very much personality. I think in the games you find out that they do, and they very much act like a seal, I guess is what this Pokemon is. But either way, I don't know. But next we have Grookey, right next to Oshawott. That was, dude, this was another hard one for me to decide whether it should be B or A. And it had to be Oshawott, it had to be Snivy to be A. I don't know, it's just really hard. I think that all three of these are interchangeable, Snivy, Oshawott, and Grookey. But Grookey ended up in B tier. almost not mid. I love him so much. I don't know what it is. Very, very cool Pokemon. Now Sobble. Sobble goes right here. Not as good as Charmander, still mid, but again, the boldness in the design, and it works. I think he's got quite the personality too, which is something else that I really kind of like about the design. I don't like putting personality into effect with the thought as to does the design work, but at the end of the day, what makes a design good is how cohesive it is with its other aspects, like its personalities. Quaxley, I have a lot of beef with Quaxley, but I would say B tier. At least he looks a little bit different. I always butcher this cat's name, bro. Spriggati, I honestly am butchering it far beyond compare, but I would put him at C tier. We have had so many cat Pokemon that I am so tired of seeing another one in this form and fashion. So I just think this one's been overdone. Maybe not the fact that it's not a good design, it's just overdone. So I was a bit tired of it. C tier. That's really all I'm just going to say for that. Barely any better. Fuecoco. Better than the generic cat, but still a very stupid Pokemon in my opinion. I did not like Fuecoco at all. And then Scorbunny goes at the very, very bottom of B. I think it's just a very mid design personally. I think people would fight me on that one too, honestly. I think the biggest complaints that people are going to have is Cyndaquil at S, Snivy at A, Scorbunny at B. I actually could see people going way higher or way lower. Chikorita, maybe I could see them people putting them a lot lower. I don't know. Trico I can see being a huge problem, but Scorbunny, I would die on a few hills that Mudkip belongs the top of the entire list. Scorbunny belongs in mid. The entirety of the newest game, Scarlet and Violet, belong way lower than mid, but this is just kind of where I put them. And I think Sobble's actually another one that I see it that would end up falling lower on a lot of people's list.